Hello, witches and wizards. It is me, your teacher Riki, and welcome back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now, Mackenzie and I have a lot of more fun lesson plans coming your way these next couple of weeks, so I hope that you are ready and very excited. Now, before we get too ahead of ourselves, I invite you to join me for a couple of collective deep breaths in and out, in through the nose and out through our mouths, just to help us get centered and ready for all of today's fun activities. So here we go. Ready? Okay, one more. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So to recap, last week, you'll remember we put each of you guys into your individual houses, and we also did a couple of fun exercises to help you figure out which animal your Patronus charm turns into. The purpose of those exercises was to help you guys discover and more so understand the traits and characteristics that each of you have that make you members of your own houses. This week and the next few lessons, we're going to be diving specifically into each of the individual 4 houses, and we're going to be talking about what kind of traits and characteristics each of the houses have that maybe are ones that we want to have ourselves, even if we're not members of those houses specifically. Because something important to remember is that as human beings, we're not that different from each other, right? Even though some of us are smarter or braver or more cunning or harder working, we're all human beings, and so we're not that different, and there are things that each of us have that can help each other out with. So, this week, we're talking about Gryffindor. Gryffindor is the house that Harry Potter's a part of. It's what Hermione belongs in. Ron Weasley's family. There are a lot of characters in our story of Harry Potter that belong in the house of Gryffindor. So let's talk a little bit more and remind ourselves what kind of traits Gryffindors have. Their external traits usually include things like bravery and courageousness. They value justice. They are a fire element, and they possess a keen sense of right and wrong. They seek to address injustice wherever it exists, either to themselves or to others. And this strong moral compass leads them to great acts of bravery and courageousness often. Today, since I am a Ravenclaw, I would like to invite you to join me in this next activity. It's called hot seating. So hot seating is just simply putting ourselves in the shoes of somebody else who is not our own. So let's talk about Ravenclaw since I'm a Ravenclaw really quickly. Ravenclaw's external traits include things like intelligence and knowledge. They're an air element, almost the exact opposite of a fire element. And Ravenclaws seek knowledge for knowledge's sake. They're driven by a passion and a hunger to know the things that they study completely inside and out. This has a tendency to produce oddballs and eccentrics, which is something I'd claim to be, both of those things. So, for me, as a Ravenclaw, the exercise I invite you to join me in right now is what is hot seating. What kind of traits do Gryffindors have that you think that you could incorporate in your own life? So, for example, for me as a Ravenclaw, I do value intelligence and knowledge, but something that I really admire about Gryffindors is that they are brave and courageous. A lot of the times in my own life, in my quest for knowledge and intelligence, I don't have as much bravery as I would like. I could use a little more of the bravery and the courageousness that Gryffindors exhibit almost all of the time to help me gain and accomplish and find the wisdom, intelligence, and knowledge that I am always in search of. Now, those kind of qualities help me as a Ravenclaw, and they also helps me understand more so why Gryffindors are so cool too. I hope that makes sense. So let's talk about it yourselves. Think about it for a minute. Talk to your mom, tell your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your cousins, siblings. Tell them what kind of traits maybe. You can write it down. You don't have to tell anybody. It's totally up to you. Tell them what kind of things Gryffindors have, even if you're a Ravenclaw, even if you're a Slytherin, even if you're a Hufflepuff, that kind of are things that you want to aspire to have in your own life to help you accomplish the things that you want and to help you get to the goals that you have set for yourself. Once you've done that for a minute, I hope that that's starting to kind of open your mind a little bit to more so about what kind of qualities each of the houses have that you could want to implement in your own lives. I'm a Ravenclaw through and through, but to be honest, as I've gotten older, I've discovered that there are traits that Gryffindors have that I would love to use in my own life, that Slytherins have, that Hufflepuffs have, and all of the traits that I love from those houses, I can use to accomplish my own personal Ravenclaw goals involving knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom, things like that. I invite you to do this too, and once you have done that, I hope that you're ready to gear up because we're gonna jump to McKenzie, and before we do a little bit of magic today, you guys are gonna need something to do magic with. So, we're gonna do some wand making. I'm gonna jump to McKenzie now so you guys can start to do that with her, and I'll see you a little bit later. Bye.
Yes, thank you, Riki. And you heard right, students. Today we will be making our wands. Because what kind of students of the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry would we really be without our wands? So wands in the Harry Potter world are very, very special because they're supposed to be very unique to you. And if you actually had the privilege of going down to Hogsmeade and buying your own wand, that's super cool and that's fun. You're ahead of the game. You can use that wand if you like. But I have two other methods for us who don't really have a wand at home to use, so that we can have wands for our time together here at Hogwarts. So method number one is perhaps my favorite method because it implores yet again our third tool of acting that we've talked about, imagination, right? Remember? So I have here just a wooden stick. It's just a stick that I found around my house, and in my brain I think it looks like this. And the reason I think it looks like that is because I'm using my imagination. I don't have to make any changes to this actual stick for it to be a wand to me. It's my intention. I can still do the swish and flick. I can still do everything that a normal wand will do. It's wand shaped and that's all that I need. Another way is that we can still find something like this around the house, or even if you have a wooden dowel or something like that, we can decorate it and make it really truly our own. We can make it unique. So one way that we could do that is we could paint it. We could paint it our favorite colors. We could paint it our house colors. Or we could make a really cool design. Really anything that your heart desires. And I'm going to leave a few examples right here. And I think that would just be a fun little arts and crafts activity if you have this stuff laying around at home. If you don't, simply picking up an object that reminds you of a wand works just well enough. So I hope you guys got your wands because we are going to dive into some Harry Potter Hogwarts classes. I hope you're ready.
Hi students, it's me, Riki again, but I'm not going to be Riki for much longer. I'm about to turn into Professor Flitwick. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy that's going to teach you some real fun and exciting charms now that you have a wand, and we're going to start playing with a little bit of magic. So if you'll go ahead and bear with me, here we go. Say goodbye to Riki, because here comes Professor Flitwick. Hello, students. McKenzie and Riki have been getting you well equipped to begin using your wands and to begin learning some charms. But what are those charms, you may ask? Well, I'm Professor Flitwick, and I am going to be teaching you just a couple of charms to get you started now that you have your very own wands made. They're going to be simple, don't worry. They're not going to be terribly advanced. I know you're new at using these wands, but they're definitely going to come in handy in times when you don't think they could. So, the two spells we're going to learn today are a levitation spell and a summoning spell. Very simple, just a couple of charms to get you started now that you have your very own wands. The first spell is the levitation spell, the levitation charm, rather, since we're in charms class, and I'm Professor Flitwick, aka head of Ravenclaw House, you know. And that spell sounds a little something like this: Wingardium Leviosa. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Just so you know, we've got to make that distinction, otherwise nothing's gonna float for you guys, all right? So, allow me to show you my wand. It is blue and silver because I am head of Ravenclaw House, but I am very excited to see what all of your wands look like with the things that you've gathered from your home and that you purchased while getting ready for your year at Hogwarts. So, why don't we go and try that spell? I'll go ahead and show you what it's like, and then I invite you to try it and do the same. I'm going to try and levitate this hair tie. So, here we go. Wingardium Leviosa. Yes. And it floats. We don't need it to go very high right now. We're just learning. So we let it float. And why don't we gently bring it back down? Yes. Simple enough, right? I invite you to try it now. Go ahead. Remember, I'll say it with you, and you go ahead and try and levitate something yourself. Wingardium Leviosa. Yes, there you are. Fantastic. You guys are pros already. I'm so impressed. Okay, now that you've mastered the levitation spell, why don't we go ahead and do something again, the summoning spell. This spell comes in handy at all times. Maybe you need your broom brought to you. Maybe you need to maybe you're too lazy to pick up the remote from the television. This spell will help eradicate that. Now, it's important to remember with all of these spells, though magic does make our lives easier, we never want to overuse or abuse our magical gifts given to us, because that is not the way of the world. So, the spell to summon something is called Accio. Say it with me, Accio. It's spelled A-C-C-I-O. Not Accio, not Axio, Accio, simply. So, I am going to go ahead and demonstrate this spell for you, and it is going to bring to me my water bottle, because I'm quite thirsty, having taught all day. So here we go. Ready? And Accio water bottle. Aha! You see? It worked. And now I'm hydrated, so it's the best of both worlds today, isn't it? The very most important thing to remember when you use the summoning charm is that you have to be specific about what it is you are summoning to you. And while that can look something like Accio water bottle, maybe the water bottle is just over my shoulder and I can see it on my dresser. If I can see it and I send all of my magical energy toward the bottle, I don't have to say Accio water bottle. I can look directly at it on my dresser and say Accio. And it will come to me as long as I am fully focused and sending all of my magical energy. Now, those are a couple of spells I've given you today, and I invite you to practice them because there will be a quiz coming up later in the next couple of weeks. So, Accio, Wingardium Leviosa. Those are the two charms we've learned today. We've learned how to levitate, and we've learned how to summon. What else have you got? What else do you need, right? At this point. I'm kidding, don't worry. We'll be learning more soon, but for now, our time is done. And so you are going to Transfiguration with Minerva McGonagall. I'll see you at next class. Make sure you practice the spells. All right, goodbye.
Hello, students. As you may know, I am Professor McGonagall, and today we are going to be learning the very basics of Transfiguration. Can anybody tell me what Transfiguration is? No, Miss Granger? We ought to give this to somebody else this time. Let's see. Ah, yes, you. What does Transfiguration mean? Do you know? Quite right. Transfiguration is when you turn one thing into another. Like so. Did you see how that worked? I turned my dog into a scrunchie. Now I can use it in my hair whenever I want. But the spell goes, if you couldn't catch it quite, vera verto. Vera verto. That is how we change things into another thing. So I challenge all of you students to walk around your house and start changing things into other things. Things that may be useful. Things that may be not so useful. If you have pets, make sure to change them back from scrunchies into pets. They will appreciate that. But let's go until dinner time, changing things into other things, using our imaginations. And, of course, our real magic. Oh my gosh, you guys, we did so much magic together today. We got to make our wands, we had Charms class with Professor Flitwick, and we had Transfiguration class with Professor McGonagall. Now, I think that is a pretty full and fun day, and I hope we did it all while channeling our inner Gryffindor, even if we aren't necessarily a part of Gryffindor House itself. So, I leave you guys with a question. What parts of Gryffindor, what characteristics of Gryffindor can you apply to yourself, even if you're not in Gryffindor? And if you are, which parts of Gryffindor can you be better at? Yeah, those are some awesome questions to ponder. You can answer it for yourself and you don't have to tell anyone else. You can write it down, or you can find the answer and you can go around and tell all the members of your family, or even your pets. They like to listen to. But for now, I'm going to bid you adieu, and me and Riki will see you next time as we dive deeper into some more houses. And remember, we're not as different as you think.